Yo guys, what's up? Today we're reacting to this video right here. Uh, guess we're just gonna share our thoughts and we'll see how this plays out. Let's go.
Star Wars Outlaws marked an important return of non-EA developed Star Wars video games, the first of its kind in over a decade. And, well, it's not perfect by any means, the mixed reviews will tell you that.
How did I... Alright, yeah. IGN is right to give 7 out of 10. They gave it 30 out of 10. How did... Game Watcher, why? Why did you give him 80? You shouldn't have done that. And Screen Rant, shame on you. Come on. The
It
game...
marked an important shift for the IP. It's an expansion of the possibilities for what we could get in the future. According to reports, Lucasfilm Games wants 2 releases per year, one big and one smaller, as seen with Star Wars Outlaws and Hunters in 2024.
I
But
tried
what's
Hunters. It was mid.
the pipeline looking like for the future? From the conclusion of one of the best Star Wars game series to date,
That's
to an
right.
ambitious dive into a new genre, and the remake of an all-time classic, today we're going over every single upcoming Star Wars video game.
Alright, that's
Although
good.
Respawn Entertainment's
What is
Star
the
Wars
picture?
first-person
Fix your
shooter,
picture.
rumored to be a Mandalorian game, was cancelled, they still have another big one in the chamber. That, of course, is Jedi 3, the final game in the series and threequel to Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Jedi 3 will also be the final installment in the series.
No! Come on. They're making amazing money. Why would you stop? Keep doing it.
This was
Come on.
confirmed during EA's Investor Relations Day, where the president of EA said, quote, "Respawn is working hard to bring the final chapter of this thrilling story to players." Now,
Respawn. Work harder. Don't bring the
this
final chapter,
doesn't
bring more
necessarily
chapters.
mean the end of Cal Kestis.
No.
Cameron Monaghan has been vocal in the past about wanting to bring the character to live action, an opportunity Lucasfilm would be crazy to pass on. However, this absolutely needs to come after the third Jedi game's release.
Yeah.
As to not spoil Cal's fate in the unnamed game, we should be on the edge of our seats wondering if he'll survive, not questioning how he gets to a surprise cameo in the Mandalorian movie. The next Jedi game will almost certainly take place closer to the events of the original trilogy, and most likely will explore the mythical planet Tanalorr, which we discovered in Jedi Survivor. Nothing concrete is known about the plot.
Okay. I feel like the timeline may be right that he was saying. But I don't know. Because Survivor took place right around the time the Obi-Wan show was around, which didn't really make sense with the Vader cameo, because he was supposed to be hunting Obi-Wan, I feel like. So I feel like that's a little... It could be close. Kind of close to the original trilogy. Or, I don't know, because maybe they go even further, let's say, like to after the original trilogy. That could be a thing, maybe.
Yet, but Jedi Survivor did include some major character developments for Cal Kestis. He tapped into the dark side, admitted feelings for Merrin, and lost his master. There's plenty to build off of here. In terms of a potential release date for Star Wars Jedi 3, there isn't much to go off, unfortunately.
Probably
We know
2026.
that it's still deep in the development stage, so
Maybe
2026 seems most likely, but
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us and we'll get Jedi 3 in late 2025.
No, you're
Whatever comes
not. No, you're not getting it in late 2025. What are you talking about? No. You think they're gonna... My God. Do you know how long it takes to work on a game? Like, they were working on Jedi Survivor for so long, I think. Many games. It takes so long to do.
comments.
It's a good question, actually. You don't know
The
much.
third game in the Jedi series isn't the only Star Wars title Respawn Entertainment are cooking up. as they're also working on a tactical strategy game in collaboration with BitReactor, the veteran developers of XCOM, the Sid Meier's Civilization series, Gears of War, and The Elder Scrolls Online. And by the way the developers are talking about it, this game has the potential to perhaps become the best Star Wars RTS of all time,
Or the worst one.
perhaps even surpassing Empire at War, which, by the way, came out in 2006. This is long overdue. This project will likely be smaller in scale than other Star Wars games like the Jedi series, but it's nice to see Lucasfilm Games diversify into something a little more niche. But don't let that deter you from giving this game a fair shot when it comes out, as the developers are intent on making it easy enough for those who don't play strategy games to grasp. In a recent interview with PC Gamer, BitReactor's technical director Ryan McFall said, quote, "I think there's definitely a perception there. I think folks have a limited view of what a strategy game could be. That is one of the things we want to try to do, expand people's perception of what the experience actually is of playing a strategy game." The development team has cited Baldur's Gate 3 as an example, a strategy-adjacent game that overcame its perception
I
and now
guess.
has a very good shot at winning Game of the Year.
I played Baldur's Gate once. I can never get into the combat, but I don't know. Apparently everyone loves it. Look at all these 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 reviews, 100 out of 100. It's... I don't know.
In terms of concrete details about the game, there's almost nothing out there. The same can be said about a potential release date, but personally, this is the one I'm most excited about after Jedi 3. I think it has the potential to be sneaky good. Perhaps the most ambitious Star Wars game in development right now is Star Wars Eclipse.
Ambitious?
First announced at the 2021 edition of the Game Awards, Eclipse is an action-adventure game developed by Quantic Dream, the studio behind titles like Detroit
No, I think they transferred over to a different one.
Become
Saber
Human.
something,
The
I
reason
think.
Eclipse is so ambitious is because the game will feature multiple playable characters, each with their own stories and
If it ever comes out. That game has been in development, or quote unquote in development, for like years now. I don't think we're gonna get it for a while.
abilities. The various branching stories will lead to different experiences for each player. No two playthroughs will be the same. Eclipse will take place in the Outer Rim during the High Republic era, the same time period as The Acolyte. Quantic
The Acolyte. I feel like that. You know what? I'm not gonna consider Disney Star Wars real Star Wars. That's like a whole other universe. Except for Mandalorian. Mandalorian can stay. Okay, Mandalorian's good.
Dream describes the player experience as, quote, "Choices have consequences. Every decision you make can have dramatic repercussions on your journey, alter your relationships, the locations you visit, the battles you fight, and even the fate of the characters themselves. The way of life in the Outer Rim is being threatened, and you must define your path. Become the architect of a devastating war, a peacemaker who will restore balance, or something else altogether."
It all sounds amazing. Wish I could play it, but I can't.
Now,
'Cause
this
it's
all sounds
not
great,
gonna come
but
out.
unfortunately Eclipse is still far from release.
Yep.
Its
There
rumored
you go.
window is between 2027 and 2030.
There's an accurate release date. That sounds accurate, right? For this game.
Now, it's probably best they take their time with developing Eclipse to avoid a situation like what happened with Cyberpunk 2077. Unfortunately, there have been reports of trouble at the developer with hiring and engine-related struggles, but
Yeah.
hopefully they are able to push through this, because honestly, this game sounds awesome.
If you
I
ever
think they
wonder
went
why I
silent.
block ads with Pi, this is why I block ads with Pi.
I just found what may be the biggest YouTube hack of 20.
Recently, we've seen a trend of older Star Wars games receiving remasters. Aspyr have released the Battlefront Classic Collection and Star Wars Bounty Hunter, with Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles next up, set for a January 2025 release date. Night Dive Studios also brought us a remaster of 1995's Dark Forces back in February. But There's a bigger remake
Oh
that's been in the
no.
works for a few
Knights of the
years,
Old
and
Republic.
that's Knights of the Old Republic.
That's
After a killer reveal teaser trailer
This is
featuring Darth
not
Revan released
gonna
in
come
late
out.
2021, things went
No.
radio silent on the game.
Exactly.
Reports soon surfaced that Aspyr was having difficulty with it, so it was passed over to Saber Interactive.
Yeah,
That's
there's
the company behind the massively successful Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. So there is still a reason for optimism. Knights of the Old Republic recently received a Nintendo Switch port, and the PC version still receives updates, but a remake with improved graphics and gameplay would be huge. This remake alone could prove to Disney and Lucasfilm just how popular the Old Republic era is, while allowing Star Wars fans who haven't played the original game to experience an improved version. Who knows?
Mhm.
Maybe an Old Republic movie or show could even follow it.
Not the game though. The game's never gonna come out. That's a problem. I don't think. Because if they go radio silent and like they have not said anything or announced anything, they aren't giving updates, those are huge red flags, and I don't think that anything like the game will come out for a while.
If
Probably
you've
be
been paying
canceled or
close attention
scrapped,
to
if I
Star
were to
Wars
guess.
games that have gone in and out of development over the last decade or so, you may remember one called Project Ragtag, an action-adventure game once in the works by EA's Visceral Games studio, the team behind the Dead Space series. That game was ultimately canceled, but its spirit seems to still be alive, now in the works at Skydance New Media. Interestingly enough, Skydance New Media is led by Amy Hennig, who was originally leading the development of Project Ragtag. She brings an impressive resume highlighted by the Uncharted series, for which she served as game director, head writer, and creative director. The new Star Wars game is described as a narrative-driven action-adventure, with leaks pointing to it taking place during the era of the Rebel Alliance. At one point, the story of Project Ragtag reportedly focused on a group of criminals, but this made its way into Ubisoft's Star Wars Outlaws, so it's likely to have taken a different direction, despite remaining in the action-adventure genre. With
So it
all
was
of these
just made
projects
into
still
this.
in what seems to be the early stages of development, that target of 2 per year set by Lucasfilm Games seems like wishful thinking, but it's pretty clear that opening the Star Wars license to developers beyond EA was the smart move. Hopefully it pays off, and soon.
Okay.
Play War
So,
Thunder.
yeah, I do think that there's potential for some new games. Problem though is, of course, Disney and their clown people that they hire. I've heard that apparently they're being racist towards white people now. I don't know how. I think they're like refusing to hire white men or something. It's so stupid. But yeah, they're trying to be woke and stuff, or however people call it. And it's quite sad what they're doing to Star Wars. And I hope they don't go into games and pump that into there. Well, I guess they sort of already have with Outlaws, but it's sad to see a really good franchise fall to Disney, really. We already saw it with Acolyte as well. That was a terrible show. I forget what it got, but it got like a bunch of terrible ratings. Anyways, catch you guys in the next one. Bye.